These are the different steps that I'm going to apply in the video for factoring trinomials. You may want to take notes off of this or possibly in the comment section below. Greetings, math friends. We are going to look at factoring a trinomial, and we are going to have a, b, and c to be numbers that are not 1. And the method that we're going to use is also going to involve a chart where we keep track of the factors and the sum. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to multiply this leading coefficient with this constant. So we're going to look at 4 times 3, and that is 12. And so for our chart, we are going to have factors of 12, and then the sum of those factors on the other side. So for 12, we have 1 and 12. Of course, we have 3 and 4, 2 and 6. And we also need to remember that we can have negatives as well, because negative 1 times negative 12 will give us a positive 12. So we have the negative versions of each of these. And then for this right-hand side, we are going to just add straight across. 1 plus 12 is 13. 2 is 8. Negative 1 plus negative 12 is negative 13. And we can stop when we reach this b value, which we have at this point. So the two numbers that we are interested in is negative 1 and negative 12. We are going to rewrite this equation using these terms. Now I'm leaving the 1 in here for instructive purposes, but the 1 is not necessary because 1 times x is just x, so you don't have to write this 1 here. The next step is I am going to associate some terms together. I'm going to create my parentheses here, capturing that negative, and then I'm going to need to insert a addition between these two terms because we haven't created factors that multiply to each other. They add together to give us this original equation. And so now I'm going to factor out common factors that I can. So in this first set, the only thing that I can factor out is the x, so I'm going to factor the x out. And this is really a bit of reversing the distributive property. If I use distributive property here, I would return to this state. Remember, we've added the plus sign in here. I'm going to factor out 3 from here. That's in common with the 12 and the 3. I also am going to factor out a negative. And this is not obvious why I'm doing this at first, but if you will look here, I have a positive x term here and a subtraction here. I have a positive here and a negative here. I want to switch so that signs match what's going on in this parenthesis. So I'm going to take out negative 3, and this gives me a positive 4x and a negative 1 here. Now, this term is being multiplied by this. I'm going to add a set of parentheses here just so that we have something that looks appropriate. Now we see, looking at this, that this term multiplied by this and this term multiplied by this has a common factor of the 4x minus 1, so I'm going to factor that out. And I have x minus 3. Now these two terms multiply together to give me this trinomial. So these are the two factors of this trinomial. If you need to know the x-intercepts, if you would graph this parabola, then you would set each of these terms equal to 0, solve for x, and those will be your x-intercepts. Cheerful Calculations.